Hey, it's Ashley Applegate with Kentucky Welding Institute, and I've got the honor sitting here today with Miss Rhiannon Howard. Rhiannon, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, I'm glad you got to come into KWI. So it's been a little over a year since you graduated, and some really exciting news. You are the first member of the 100K Club that's a female welder. How does that make you feel?
Well, it feels really awesome, to be honest. I mean, I never thought that I would make it out of my first year making $100,000. I mean, I even waited probably 6 or 7 months after I graduated to even do the math and see if I made it. So I was tickled to find out that I did.
So looking back, what made you decide to get into welding knowing it's a male-dominated career?
Well, I knew that I wouldn't be good at any type of job where I'm sitting down. I'm the type of person that needs to be using my hands. And so I started investigating different trades and stuff, and welding really caught my eye. And luckily I had the resources to try it, and that's what interested me in going to school, and I'm so glad that I did it.
Okay. Now, had you welded like at a high school level or something before you come to Kentucky Welding Institute?
No, I had people that I knew that had machines to use and stuff like that. So luckily I was able to try it before I committed to school, but I really didn't have any kind of welding experience other than just like tacking stuff together in a shop or something.
So getting into this industry, and it's a male-dominated field, was there any uphill struggles that you faced? Did you feel like you had to prove yourself twice as good as the guys or anything at all like that?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure. People are looking at you all the time. Even if you're just making like a small jack stand weld, there'll be 5 or 6 people standing around watching you, because it's not so much that people want to see you fail, but at the same time, a lot of people don't want to see you succeed. It's more out of curiosity. So you do kind of have to try twice as hard sometimes, in my opinion, just to keep up, because eyes are on you all the time.
Now, did you have some mentors, so someone who, like, you can think back, and you don't have to mention a name, but like those people who really took you under their wing and really helped you out when you got out on the road?
Yeah, luckily, it seems like every job there's been, somebody there for me, whether I deserved it or not. Like, whenever I first got out of school, I didn't know anything. I was always, on the verge of getting run off, and so luckily there's been a handful of people throughout the 2 years that I've been out of school that have really helped me, and I'm thankful for those people. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome, because you got to think of, at one point your foreman or your supervisor was in your shoes. So there are a lot of people in the industry that want to see everyone succeed, especially when it's a female.
Yeah.
I know a lot of companies really like the attention to detail. You mentioned TIG welding, and if you're going to sign your name on a check, it's going to look better than most men's handwriting. So that attention to detail really helps. Do you think that your attention to detail from other life experiences, blended right into your TIG welding and your career?
Yeah, I would say so. Just in my experience, like people that are a similar age on the job site, even if the standards might not be so high, like, no QC, no x-ray, a lot of people let that show in their craftsmanship, but I like to pretend that everything is an x-ray weld for the most part, and try my best anytime I make a weld. Right. So I think that maybe just be a personal thing, but I do think that's one thing that comes with just being a girl. You pay attention. You want everything to look pretty and nice and neat.
Yeah. And I've seen pretty welds fail and ugly welds pass, but in the long run, it's that first visual that someone's going to see, and if it's got a good appearance, then they're going to say, oh yeah, this is going to be a good, successful weld in most cases. Yep. Did you find a niche? Did you find one certain avenue, maybe refinery or pipeline or nuclear? Did you find something that you really dwelled on that you really loved?
Yeah, well, most of my experience out of school has been nuclear, and it's kind of different from a lot of work where it's slower paced, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. You don't get as much hood time, but you really have to show attention to detail, because some stuff is, x-ray, and the QCs are pretty hard there. And
if you were going to take a weld test tomorrow, are you nervous, or are you just going to go in there and rock it because you know you got it?
I still get super nervous. I have to take a weld test, I think next week, and I'm still nervous. It's just like a combo monster, typical, done it 100 times before, but I still haven't quite got over the testing jitters.
You know, I've always said that if you're not nervous about a test, then it just doesn't mean anything to you.
Yeah.
You need to feel a little bit of anxiety going in. So where are you taking a weld test at next?
I'll be going to North Carolina next. It's another nuclear plant.
Okay.
I've been there before, but I just have to renew my quals. So.
Okay, so this is just a continuity test.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How long is that job going to last? Is it just a couple months or is it long term?
I think it's around 2 months, might be a little less, and then there's another outage directly after, so I'll be going to that one.
All right. So a lot of people going out on their first year, they have something that I've heard of being job scared. What does job scared, in your opinion, mean? What's that mean to you?
Well, whenever I first started welding, like out in the field, I was always afraid of like getting fired, messing up, not passing weld tests. Everybody was better than me, so I felt like I didn't really belong there. But and I probably spent the first whole entire year like that, just constant anxiety. But I feel like it's important to go through that because now I feel like I'm a better welder because of it, and possibly a better employee because I cared so much about not getting fired and making sure I kept a job. But yeah, it was definitely a pretty anxious year.
Right. You know, so you're looking at other women who are in this industry. Did you run into any other, professional female welders in your travels in the last couple of years?
Yeah, a handful. There's definitely not many. I think a lot of people think that it's out of reach for them, but in all honesty, it's probably one of the more female-friendly trades because there's not a lot of heavy lifting. There are long hours and there's a lot of manual labor, but you're not going to be lifting like, 200-pound like objects or anything like that. But I've definitely met some pretty cool people from my travels, and now I have a couple girlfriends that I know I'll keep for probably the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So, and I love it whenever I get to travel and see my girlfriends because, it is a male-dominated trade and there's guys everywhere all the time, but having a couple girls that you can spend time with is really awesome.
Yeah, I'd say it would be. So, someone you can maybe relate to or talk to,
Oh,
and the guys are doing their thing, and now you got someone that you can go.
Yeah.
So what was that like? So it's Sunday and you've been working, a 6-10 hour shift or whatever, and now you got a day off. What's the day off look like for Rhiannon?
Well, I mean, if my girlfriends are around and they're welding with me, then, we might go get pedicures or something.
Okay.
But honestly, on a lot of my days off, I like to go out and about and see nature, go hiking, because you get to travel a lot of different places. So getting to see different like landmarks and places like that is really cool because a lot of people don't get to experience that, especially not at work.
Is there a bucket list job? So as you're searching or as you're talking to your friends and your contacts, and is there that one job like, yes, before my career is over or in the next 2 years, I'm going to hit that job?
Yeah, I would say anything overseas really has always struck my attention. I would love to get to go to another country and weld, not only for the money because usually it pays really well, but just to be able to experience something like that and get paid to do it would be really cool.
Okay. A couple years back, I was out in Texas at the Ocean Corporation and had the opportunity to do some underwater welding there with some Outlaw Leather and some other really awesome folks. Tell us about your experience going under the water.
Oh, that was really cool. Just this past summer I went and we did like a women's welding competition, and they had a regular welding portion where you just did like a combo test, and then the following day we did an underwater T-plate, and I actually ended up winning first place.
All
so
right.
That was really cool. I won like a Outlaw Leather hood and some other goodies, some stuff from Rugged Charms, and it was really awesome. It was definitely scary. There's something about going under the water and still trying to breathe that was a little nerve-wracking, but after I got the hang of it, it was really fun.
Yeah, I think when the first time you ever go down, it sort of catches your breath. You got on 100 pounds of gear and you're not used to the weight of the hood and the helmet and all that, and once you go under, it sort of takes your breath. When you struck that arc, were you able to feel like the water just sort of moving around you?
No, luckily all the other girls kept getting shocked, and I was one of the last ones on the list to go in. So
that didn't make you nervous at all?
Yeah, a little bit. But anyways, they all said that like the blue rods that they use, because we had the option, we could either use one kind or another, and they said that the blue ones were shocking everybody, so I just didn't use the blue ones.
Okay, so you didn't get shocked?
Yeah, so luckily I didn't get shocked or anything, but it was really neat.
Yeah, so their tanks at Ocean Corps, they got some that go really deep. You were probably, what, maybe 6-8 feet
Yeah,
down?
the tank we were in, we were 8 feet down, so.
Yeah. Now, did you get practice time, or was it just jump in and give it your best shot and wing it?
Yeah, they gave us 2 plates, so they let us practice on 1 plate, and we could figure out what rod we wanted to use on our test plate, because they gave us options. And after we practiced a little bit, then they gave us our test plate, and we had to weld both sides, and they would go off the better looking side.
Mm-hmm. I get the question a lot of, I want to get into underwater welding, and my advice to people is, learn to weld, and then, put that together with a great diving school such as Ocean Corps. Mm-hmm. But one thing a lot of people don't understand is you're not looking at the arc. You're doing it, you're almost feeling what you're doing, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It is really hard to see. You can still see a little bit, but whenever you're welding, the bubbles come up and they kind of get in your way. So a lot of it's by feel, yeah.
Now, did you choose camper life straight out of school, or you do Airbnb or hotel, or what made you finally settle on, okay, I'm going to take my house with me as I go?
Well, I definitely did the Airbnbs, hotels, and actually I did Airbnbs mostly out of welding school because I wasn't old enough to get a hotel, so that was not very fun for me. But I tried it, and I've tried staying with friends and stuff, and having my own place that I have all my stuff right where I put it the last job. It's definitely ideal for me. I don't have to deal with other people. I can have my dog with me. Mm-hmm. It didn't take very long for me to decide that that's what I would want. So yeah, it's nice. It's definitely, it comes with its challenges, finding places to stay, and it breaks all the time, but I think it's the way to go if that's, something that's important to you.
Yeah, you mentioned something that a lot of the younger generation don't understand about getting a hotel. You said it was challenging and frustrating. So what most people just think, I'm just going to pull into the Super 8 and get a night, but it don't work that way, does it?
No. Whenever I graduated, I guess I was 19 or 20. I can't remember. I guess I was 20. But you have to be 21 to get a hotel, so you're stuck with Airbnbs as your only option, or if you have a camper. And a lot of times with Airbnbs, they're expensive unless you do like a private room or some of the lower end places. And me being a girl, I'm not going to go somewhere sketchy. Right. And living with other people in the house is kind of nerve-wracking sometimes, like if you're renting a room in someone's home. I've not had a bad experience out of it yet, but it doesn't make me feel the most safe. And even sharing an Airbnb with other people, you got to make sure that you can trust the people you're staying with. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's why. It's one of the bigger reasons why I want to stay in a camper, so I don't have to deal with all that. Yeah,
so life on the road at the campground, do you make the little campground family and you're all friends there and you help each other and you get along?
A lot of times, yeah. If I'm on a job with my friends, then there's definitely a lot of days where we might hang out, grill out, mm-hmm. have a cookout. But yeah, and then even people that you meet in the campground, some of those people end up being your friends.
Yeah, so I've had some other people tell me like, hey, it's a campground. You said I got a welder in the truck. Someone come over and say, hey, can you weld this for me? So you got people coming to you now say, hey, Rhiannon, can you fix my fill in the blank? My trailer hits? Yeah,
that happens more at home than anything. But also where I've been doing single hand work, I don't have my machine with me ever. Uh-huh. So I haven't been asked, I don't think yet, on the road to weld anything. But if I ever decided to rig out or something, I'm sure people would probably ask.
So where do you see your career going from here? So let's look at 10 years out. do you see yourself still chasing the paper, pulling your camper, riding around with your dog, or you want to settle in with one company, or maybe start your own company and working for yourself?
I don't know. Right now, I'm still really enjoying traveling, and it's hard for me to put a time limit on it. I know that one day I'll be done traveling, but I don't know if I would rather have my own business or if I would like to be, in-house
Right.
at a plant or something. I'm not quite sure yet, but as of right now, I really enjoy traveling. I enjoy making the outage money, and I just haven't figured that out yet, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah. Did you have any issues convincing your family? So maybe your parents saw you as a traditional female who's going to go to college and get that type of a working a 9-to-5 job. Were there any conversations with, no, you don't need to do this, Rhiannon? And how did you convince and talk to your family about this?
Yeah, there was definitely a little skepticism at first. My family wasn't quite sure that it would work out whenever I first started, but I think as I went to school and they saw how excited I was and how passionate I was about the trade, that's whenever they really started supporting me, which they were, of course, supportive
Right.
through all of it. But I think it gave them some comfort in knowing that I really enjoyed what I was doing.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people for decades and almost for an entire generation was college. You got to go to college, and now you can come to a welding school like KWI for 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and while your friends are probably still in college pursuing that 4-year degree, you've already put $100,000 in the bank.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely pretty cool to be able to do something and be able to make a good amount of money after just a short period of time in school. And I think it's important that people look at both college and trade school equally, because you can make good money going to college,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have a 4-year commitment, which was not for me. But trade school, I'm so glad that I decided to go because, 6 months, and then I was, making, I think, like $30 an hour on my first job. I would have never thought, even after 4 years of college, that I'd be making $30 an hour. So yeah, that was really exciting.
Do you think that the American Welding Society certifications that you earned here help on that first job or two with the resume and the contractors seeing, this gal has proven it, she's got AWS wallet card certs? Do you think that helped you get on some of those jobs?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped. There's been a handful of jobs where, probably 2 or 3 maybe, that I used my AWS certs, so I didn't take a weld test. I just used those certs to get the job. But it definitely helped my resume a lot, especially coming from no experience, to look a little, more professional and like I knew what I was doing. But then again, on the other side of things, a lot of jobs, they don't really look at that. And a lot of it's just word of mouth, whether or not people have good things to say about you. Seems like that's how I get most of my jobs today, is just knowing the right people and making sure I do a good job whenever I'm somewhere, and people hire you back knowing that you do a good job.
Yeah, that's true. The networking in this industry, we're 300,000 plus welders short in America, but the networking is a really small family. Once you have people that know you can work and that you'll show up and you'll do a good job, you don't have to look for work very much anymore. Work seems to find you.
Yeah, networking is honestly right up there with, your actual skill level.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't network, you're probably not going to keep a job very well, because friends and even knowing supervisors, recruiters, those relationships that you keep with people, that's how I stay working, at least.
Yeah. Now the relationship with your financial advisor, that's got to be a big one, because when you're making a 6-figure salary, you need to plan for the future instead of just living in, paycheck to paycheck, in other words.
Yeah. A lot of guys definitely do that. Whenever they get their first big checks, they want to spend it all at Boot Barn or buying truck parts or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I try to do my best and make sure to save as much as I can. Because another thing that a lot of people don't think about is if something happens where you get hurt, or something happens to your truck where you can't
Right.
go somewhere, then you might be out of work for weeks or months, or if you don't have some kind of savings to fall back on, then you're going to go broke.
Yeah, another pandemic happens and the country shuts down for some crazy reason again. You still got a truck payment, you still got a phone
right.
bill, you got to have a nest egg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and with making that kind of money, if you start now on your retirement, then you can retire way earlier than someone who doesn't save until they're 55 years old. Then it's too late.
Yeah.
So we've got Rhiannon's plaque. Again, talking with Rhiannon Howard, she is going to be the first female inductee into the KWI 100K Club. So we're going to retire her old welding hood that she didn't want to give up, but she gave it up here anyway. And then replacing that, going back into Rhiannon's hand, is the brand new Outlaw Leather Pro Liner welding hood. So Rhiannon, we want to present this with you today. We really appreciate you coming in. Hopefully you've inspired other females who will watch this video and think, you know what, this is a trade that I can get into and that I can enjoy.
Yep.
All right, well, thanks very much for coming in, and look forward to seeing you make that next 100K.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.